to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku and Animation News Network with
Krellica Kane.
And we have another Kaiju no Kami versus AI video today, which is back to doing another Power Rangers episode. What are we doing?
So we're actually going to be talking about Power Rangers SPD and why it's so popular in Japan. And in the United States as well, but why it's been reverse imported.
It is my favorite Power Rangers series, so...
And I've never watched it, so...
I know. So when we watch Deca Ranger, after we watch Deca Ranger, we're going to do Power Rangers SPD.
No.
Alright, so let's get on with it.
Alright, so I actually did not know what SPD stood for.
Space Patrol Delta.
Yes, I thought it was just like RPM. I didn't know it actually stood for something.
Well, yeah, because in Japan, SPD is Special Police Deca Ranger. So therefore, because it's on the logo, that's why they decided to call the series... they had to actually use the name SPD, so Space Patrol Delta.
Okay. And it's gained a notable following in Japan for several reasons, reflecting its successful adaptation in America and its reception essentially worldwide. So, numero uno. It's because of its faithful adaptation of Tokusou Sentai Deca Ranger. Being that it's based on this show, it helped first for that familiarity for why it's well received. The adaptation was praised for maintaining the essence of the original series while introducing new elements. Deca Ranger itself was popular due to its innovative space police theme, engaging characters, and dynamic storytelling. So they retained that.
They do. They also gave it a full-on continuous plot, rather than it's individualized like Deca Ranger is. It has a main villain who actually has a relation with Doggy Kruger because they have been enemies for a long time.
Well, I think that leads into numero dos. Strong storytelling and character development. SPD was recognized for its engaging and well-developed characters. The show balanced action with character-driven plots, allowing viewers to connect with the Rangers on a personal level. The narrative arcs, character growth, and teen dynamics resonated with audiences, making it a compelling watch.
Well, yeah, because all the characters, even if one of them, the Pink Ranger, Sydney, she didn't get as much development as most of the others, but yeah, they had, because you had the Red Ranger and Yellow Rangers. They were thieves who became part of cops. Sky, who was the Blue Ranger, was upset at, oh god, no, I can't think of
the Red Ranger's name.
Yeah, but he was upset that he became the Red Ranger when Sky's dad was the Red Ranger before he was killed. But it's interesting because in the show, you see his dad's wearing the Time Force red outfit. And this show took place in the future. Actually, I think it took place 2024?
So it took place this year?
Or 25? So it took place somewhere around this time.
Wow. And we don't have any of what they displayed in the show.
No, we don't.
So...
and then we had the Green Ranger Bridge was hilarious. He was like kind of the comic relief, but he was comic relief done right. And then Doggy Kruger was really cool. And Disco Skeletor, even though
Disco Skeletor.
That's what I call him.
Oh, I was like, is that really the character's name?
His name was Grum. Probably because he grumbles a lot. Blah, blah, blah. But I called him Disco Skeletor because he was a gold skeleton creature that looked like Skeletor. And then his daughter, they did what they did with Rige and Abba Ranger with her, whereas you know how Rige went from girl to adult, so they did that with his daughter.
So they did something different that hadn't been done in America before as well.
Uh-huh.
So, numero tres, high production values. The production quality of SPD was impressive, featuring high-quality special effects, action sequences, and set designs. The show's visual appeal contributed to its success and made it stand out compared to other Power Ranger shows.
It did, but also at times the explosions got ridiculous.
Okay.
Because it was... Their amount of explosions was being compared to like a Michael Bay movie.
Now, was it the Japanese explosions or the American?
American-made explosions. So, like, there's a scene of when the Red Ranger is riding the American-made motorcycle. It's just explosion after explosion after explosion from him driving. Explosions over here, explosions over there. Yeah, it really was like Michael Bay. Explosions! 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 Bay-plosions! Like that Robot Chicken skit.
So number 4, just because I'll go to English. I don't know why, but I am. Cultural appeal. The concept of a space police force, combined with elements of teamwork, justice, and heroism, aligns well with traditional audience tokusatsu theme, or traditional Japanese audience tokusatsu themes. The show's integration of these elements with a Western adaptation helped bridge cultural gaps and appeal to those Japanese audiences. So I don't feel like when we watched Deca Ranger, God, I only watched it once, and it was that time when it was airing. And I don't feel like it had a lot of like truly Japanese only elements, but I could be wrong. No, I understand that.
I know.
Oh my God, 20 years ago. Oh my God. Seriously?
Yeah, Deca Ranger was 20 years ago.
Oh my God, I give up. I so give up. But still, I didn't feel like it did anything traditionally Japanese. I could be wrong. But did it do anything that's traditionally like an American thing? I guess the explosions, if they're ridiculous, yes, but like, did it have any American nuances that we take for granted, but other cultures were like, oh my God, that's so American?
I don't know. Because Deca Ranger only did a few. Well, they did some, but not as much as others. SPD really was a lot of sci-fi based stories.
So number 5 is nostalgia and legacy. For many Japanese viewers, SPD served as a nostalgic link to Deca Ranger. So the familiarity with the original series combined with the new twists in its adaptation created a sense of continuity and appreciation for the franchise's evolution. So basically they could look at it as like a sequel series. Think along the lines of I'm
just more... See, okay, that part doesn't work for me saying nostalgia, because that dub was like 3-4 years later. If you're going to rely on nostalgia, it would be something if the dub was like... If the Japanese dub to it was like 15-20 years later.
Well, I will disagree with your thought there, because nostalgia doesn't have to have a time limit. Nostalgia can come very quickly, because if you think fondly of something, it's not like you have to think fondly.
Oh my God, I have so much nostalgia over Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Oh, that was such a good time back then. The world was simpler. We didn't have COVID. Oh wait, we actually know this was after COVID. But yeah, in the mouth. Why do I keep saying in the mouth of madness?
Because we were talking about the movie yesterday.
I'm thinking of John Carpenter. See, it's funny just saying, oh yeah, Doctor Strange 2. I have so much nostalgia for that, because that was like after COVID, man. And it was when all the movies started to do the multiverse story, man. And
when did it come out?
Was it 22? 23? I don't know. It couldn't be 23.
I was going to say, it couldn't have been last year.
No, it wasn't last year. It had to be the year before.
I thought it was 21.
No, it couldn't have been 21 because Black Widow was 21. Because 21 had Black Widow, Eternals, and 2022.
Okay.
Came out
Fine. Well,
May 6, 2022.
I don't feel that nostalgia technically has a time limit outside of probably not being in the same year.
Oh my God, Infinity War. That was a time that was so great because we didn't have COVID. We didn't have people being assholes mostly to each other.
Okay, can we move on from your ridiculousness?
Oh, the nostalgia from 5 years ago.
Okay, can we move on? So number 6, successful marketing and merchandising. The success of SPD in Japan was also supported by effective marketing and merchandising. Obviously, we weren't there.
I was going to say, I can't answer on that one.
I can't answer on that one because obviously this is AI telling me that Japan was promoted through various channels, including new toys, merchandise, and promotional events.
Speaking of which
helped maintain its visibility.
Actually, that's something funny. You remember the one dude we met at Power Morphicon who was dressed up as Deca Green?
Yes.
Or SPD Green. So, Midwest Toku is his name. Mm-hmm. He had his SPD license thing that he had was broken. So he went up to the actress who played Kat from the show, who was the scientist, Deca Swan's U.S. counterpart.
Okay.
I was like, hey, can I record you? Having you bring this up to you, and you're trying to fix it for me. So he's got a video of her acting like she's trying to fix it for him.
Oh, that's really cool. That's actually really nice. So obviously, I can't speak to marketing and merchandising. I would imagine if they're reverse importing a show, that they're probably going to take advantage to re-release the toys and any of the merchandise because it's a great way to make money. Because we have Spaceballs the license plate. We have Spaceballs the flamethrower, which you and Chrysalis Bloodborne will never own because it is not meant for long care. Is that a
challenge? Is that a challenge?
I just can guarantee you guys won't own it. Let's see. Moving on. Number 7. Positive reception from fans. There was a great resurgence of fans, both for its faithfulness to the original and its own merits as a series, which contributed to its ongoing popularity, and fan enthusiasm and word of mouth further solidified the show's reputation in Japan. I actually think this is personally awesome because even with the internet today, but pre-internet, and maybe this is why nostalgia could play in the early 2000s.
Jack! That was the Red Ranger's name.
Or in the early 2000s, you have to think about the fact that the internet isn't what it is today. Web pages were still fairly simplistic looking. Trying to get information was still a little bit of a challenge. Are you...
No, go ahead, continue.
I'm a little afraid of what you're going to be looking for. Anyways, word of mouth was still probably the most important thing. And as a kid from the 80s and 90s, there were things I had gotten word of mouth that I got that from like random discussions because the internet wasn't around. So the only way you could know about things was somebody heard it from somebody else in another state, and you played a long game of telephone that you hoped what you heard was true by the time it got to you, but you never knew. That's why I find Wikipedia so damn hilarious.
It's a game of phone.
Yes.
But no, I was thinking about, okay, so the characters. We had Bridge, Sky, Z was the Yellow Ranger, Sid or Sydney, and then Jack was the Red Ranger.
Are they a Final Fantasy cast? Because I'm just thinking of, So, who's supposed to be the knight? Well, I'm not even going to go on the
Sky would be the knight. Bridge would be the bard. Sydney would be the white mage. Z would be the
healer.
That's the white mage.
Oh, okay.
Would be the red mage, and Jack would be the dragoon.
So number 8 in our final category, international influence. So you can blame it on America.
America!
So Power Rangers has a global fan base. I actually am still curious, and I'm going to do this for a future video, just to see what the international influence of simply Power Rangers is versus Super Sentai.
Like getting banned in New Zealand.
Yes, but still having to be filmed in a country that nobody can ever watch it. There is something to be said about that total element of irony. We're going to film we're going to film Power Rangers in your country. Oh, that's fine. You can film everything you want about Power Rangers. How are the sales and the airway? How is the marketing for Power Rangers going in New Zealand? Oh, we don't show your show here. You can just film it here. Over one fucking kid. But we have millions of kids doing stupid ass shit. But we don't get anything banned.
Which is both good and bad.
Well, yeah, because you have 5-year-olds playing GTA in America because parents are like, they're not going to do anything like in GTA.
I'm fine with it. Oh, it has swearing in it. Huh.
Oh, yeah. You can have sexual innuendos. You can have murder, mayhem.
I was just about that today.
But if it has very tough language, I don't approve.
I was just talking about that today, how back when GTA 4 first came out, and I had a parent, he was like, yeah, I want to get my 13-year-old son GTA 4. Okay, well, it has, you rob people, you shoot people, that's fine. Wait, how's the language? Swearing and all? Oh, then I don't want him to have it.
What do you think? A game that has robbing people and murdering people, do you think they're going to be like, excuse me, sir, I need to take that from you. So can you just kindly give it to me? Would you mind if I just shanked you with this homemade knife that I created out of a toothbrush? Is that a problem, sir? Do you have any issue with how I dispatch you? If they made a video game that had very clean language while unaliving people, because I love that term, unaliving, I would so want to find that. Because you let your kids play Call of Duty online.
You said duty.
But GTA is the problem. And I think the little kids that have the headsets on have coarser goddamn language than the adults playing the game. And I have never played an online game that kids or teenagers may have signed on to.
Oh, yeah,
I hear this from experience from you, Silver Quill, and all my other friends who play multiplayer games.
Playing GTA 5 and the kid and the 11-year-old comes on. I'm 11! Why, you think my parents are bad? They're great parents.
So why? Okay, and let me just pause this for a second and interrupt the last finishing this sentence. I just want to say one very valid and important thing. If you are under the age of 18 and you're on social media or on an online multiplayer or anything like that, can you do me a solid and not say your age? Because I don't want to have to deal with the fear of some unknown entity wanting to PD you or kidnap you. Thank you. Now, Back to this international influence, the series has benefited from the global influence of Power Rangers because Power Rangers, admittedly, does have more knownness around the world than admittedly Super Sentai. And I think that's because Super Sentai for so long had to be more of an underground perspective, thinking about Power Morphicon and having specifically Decade's actor there, thinking, nobody's gonna know me. My show hasn't even been released in America. And having lines upon lines upon lines of fans just so excited to meet the main writer from Decade.
Speaking of which, there was one disappointment though. I wish they had a picture of him for autographing from his character from Garo. That would have been cool.
Oh, that would have been smexy because he looked good in Garo. But anyways, I just find it fascinating because Kamen Rider and Super Sentai a little bit more underground than your Power Rangers, and it's ironically the Power Rangers name that has helped it to bring additional attention versus the Super Sentai counterpart of Deca Ranger. Now, do you think that could be kind of an insult
For what?
to the original work of Deca Ranger, that everybody knows it more as SPD than Deca Ranger? Or do you think it helps people become more interested in the Japanese counterpart?
I don't think it's insulting at all. Both are great series. Both complement each other well. Like Deca Ranger has one episode that trumps all of SPD, but as a show as a whole, I think SPD is better.
What episode?
Perfect Blue. It's like a film noirish type episode with the Deca Blue has to do a case on his own.
Oh, I remember that episode. Sorry, when you say Perfect Blue, my mind automatically always goes to that horrific movie.
The greatest anime movie ever?
It's the greatest anime movie ever, as long as you don't want to go to therapy in the next week. So, with that said, I'm just going to set this right here. Any final thoughts for this particular
So
AI?
the other thing that SPD did that was really interesting is, okay, so they're B Squad.
Yes.
So in the beginning of the show, the Alpha Squad is sent out, and they go missing. And then towards the end of the show, the Alpha Squad's found, and so that aspect was really cool because the other aspect is this was a Power Rangers team that were just supposed to be the reserve Rangers, not the main ones. So there was also that aspect compared to Deca Ranger, is that they were actually the backup team.
Now, could you play with this like headcanon if you wanted to, that SPD could be like a sequel to Deca Ranger, knowing that it's Alpha versus Beta?
I mean, there's ways to work around it, but it wouldn't work out fully.
No, that's fine. I was more curious than anything, just for shits and giggles. But overall, how did you think AI did with talking about why SPD is so popular in Japan?
Well, outside of repeating itself, with the reception and where's the other one?
The cultural appeal? Or
yeah, I think that would be it. Because those two kind of were like the same thing.
Fair.
But it wasn't a bad list. It wasn't mind-breaking like the Toku franchises, and wasn't confusing as hell like the writers one. So it actually felt like they were mostly more accurate on SPD.
So, the next that we have we can go one of two ways. We can talk about the Toku series that are the darkest in tokusatsu history, even though there's one I personally call bullshit on. Or we can talk about the best Kamen Rider series. Do you want to see what I have an argument over? Or do you want to just go to Kamen Rider?
I'll decide that in a moment before we record. But, alright. Have you watched Power Rangers SPD? If so, what is your favorite moment from it? Who's your favorite character? Do you have a favorite episode? Let us know in the comments. Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else you chose. You clicking on support us. You can support us on Patreon and Bluesky at tokuaannetwork, Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami, and the website is creativitybydesignllc.com. You can also add that with a /shop to buy cool Kaiju no Kami merchandise. There's also a link in the description below.
And apparently somebody wants to know if I'm going to be fishing and hunting tomorrow.
They're just fishing for victims.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. And until next time, bye.